Welcome to JazzTime. JazzTime.com is an online store that buys, sells, trades authentic luxury watches. We make these videos so our customers can easily choose the best watch for themselves in the comfort of their own home. If you like this watch and would like to purchase it at the lowest price anywhere online, click on the link in the description below to buy it at JazzTime.com. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Rolex Datejust 41 in yellow, gold, and steel with a silver dial, reference 126333. I want to talk to you a little bit about the history, then tell you about where this watch stands in the lineup of other Datejust 41s, then tell you about the case, bezel, dial, bracelet movement, finally try it on and give you my thoughts. So let's start with the history. And the Datejust is Rolex's most popular line. They also make the most of the Datejusts, and it's probably their most recognizable watch as well. And it was created in 1945. Now, Rolex was making watches before that, but the Datejust, what the hallmark of the Datejust is that it has the date 1 through 31, and of course the time, and it has this fluted bezel. And when it was created in 1945, it more or less looked the same. Of course, some minor changes here and there to make it more fresh, but the basic look has looked more or less the same since its inception. Now, in 1945, that makes around 80 years ago already. So it's been quite some time. At any rate, the Datejust has gone through many different variations over the years, and what you're looking at is the final or the last iteration of it. And I think they really got it perfect. I'm not sure what else they could do to it, which is probably why they haven't had any revisions in this watch, in this reference number, for around 10 years. I believe this was first released around 2015 or so. Now it being 2024, it's been around 10 years. Not much else to change on it since they've pretty much done it perfectly. Okay, that's a little bit about the history, and let's talk about where this watch stands in the lineup of other Datejusts. Now, as you can imagine, since I told you that the Datejust is Rolex's most popular and iconic line, they make it in almost every size and variation with like around 1,000 different variations. Let's first start with the size. They make it in size 28, 31, and 36 millimeter for ladies. That's small, medium, large. And for men, they make it in size 36 and 41, medium and large. You might even say that the Skydweller at 42 is just an extension of the Datejust line with a complication. So that's, again, a small, medium, large for men. This one is the Datejust 41, the largest of the Datejusts. And then in the Datejust 41 category, they make it in many different variations as well. Steel, steel and gold, rose gold, yellow gold, white gold. They do different combinations with different bracelets and a ton of different dials. Some they produce the dials, for example, for a year or two, like the palm motifs or something like that, and then they discontinue it. So there's a lot of different variations, and the bezel has different variations, either a smooth bezel or a fluted bezel. So there's a lot of variations. The one that you're looking at here is in silver dial. So let's go ahead and start talking about this particular watch. Let's start with the case. The case is 41 millimeter, as I just stated to you. And that's my thumb to my index finger at the 8 o'clock to 2 o'clock position, the longest distance across the bezel. And the case itself is made in stainless steel, 904L steel, the best steel that you can possibly make. Most companies do not actually use 904L steel because it's so difficult to use, but it's highly anti-corrosive and it maintains its luster even after polish, and it's very strong, very difficult to work with. Rolex knows how to work with it very well, hence they are the #1 watchmaker, at least in terms of sales, volume, popularity, not volume, but sales, popularity, demand, etc. They pretty much win on every mark. Anyways, so the case itself is made in steel. Now, if you look at the height of it, it's 12 millimeters. And when I turn it on its side, you can see 12 millimeters in height. Now, that's not too thick, not too thin. You need to have the watch with a little bit of thickness, otherwise it doesn't have any real heft to it. And 12 millimeters does that just right. I would consider that the Datejust 41 as the standard size for large watches for men. You don't really want it too much larger than this because it looks a little bit funny. Okay, anyways, that's the case, all made of stainless steel. Now you might be wondering which part of this is actually steel and gold then. Well, let's move on to the bezel. Now the bezel here is Rolex's iconic fluted bezel. I would actually say after the logo of Rolex, the fluted bezel is probably their #1 most iconic, and it's actually considered the Rolex signature. Why? Because, well, it's a part of the watch that is instantly recognizable as Rolex, and it's a very beautiful bezel. This fluted bezel, it actually used to have a component to it that would ensure the waterproofness of the watch. That was the function of it before. They've since figured out how to do it without using the bezel as the waterproofing. They used a gasket and a rubber gasket and the crystal and the case to do that now. But before, they used to use the bezel to like screw it on and keep it watertight. At any rate, that functional purpose turned into aesthetic, and here you are with a fluted bezel, which arguably is Rolex's most iconic part. It has these little ridges on them, and that part is the part that's yellow gold. It made of 18 karat yellow gold. Okay, so it gives the watch this beautiful look of both strong strength in the steel as well as nobility and high quality in this yellow gold. Okay, that's the bezel. The bezel does not turn. And okay, let's move on to the dial here. Now, Rolex makes the Datejust in many variations. Well, not that many. They make a lot of basic colors for the Datejust. And because it's a watch that is intended to be worn in a dress type fashion. So for example, you could wear this with your business suit if you're going to work, or, you know, whatever you're wearing your more formal wear in. And therefore they don't make a bunch of crazy colors like purple and green. And, you know, they make their Datejust in very basic colors: black, gold to match the gold, silver, which is what you see here, white. And they make a few other variations like, you know, slate Roman and something else. But basically, those are the dials, the basic dial colors. Silver is, we'll get to that when we get to it. Okay, so the dial, anyways, the silver look, it matches the case. The golden dial or the champagne dial matches the gold. So, and then they have black and white. So really basic colors. The only one that's kind of out there is the slate Roman, also known as the Wimbledon, kind of have this slate color and these funky green colors. But at any rate, the silver is what you see here. Another good thing about this dial is that it is luminescent. You can see it at night. If you shine the light at it, which I'm doing here, you can see that the hour markers and hands are easily visible at night. And they do that by putting luminescence. Now, if you had Roman numerals, like in the Datejust 36s, you would not be able to see them. Or even like the slate Roman variation, the Wimbledon variation with the Roman numerals, you would not be able to see them at night because they don't luminesce. So that is another practical consideration of keeping it in index. And also, index just lends for a much cleaner look, which is why I believe Rolex has maintained their index looks. Okay. All right. Now let's move on. That's the dial. Beautiful silver dial. It's actually a sunray silver dial. And what that means is when you turn it at different angles, the silver looks different. Okay. And silver really goes with everything. The good part about it is that it can go with light clothes and it can go with dark clothes. People say black and white are neutral colors. Yes, that's true. They are neutral colors. They can be paired with anything, of course. Black with red, black with green, black with purple, black with blue, black with anything. And same goes with white. But silver is also another color that if you're wearing dark clothes, it works just fine. If you go with light clothes, it works just fine as well. So it's a very versatile. In fact, I would even say that silver is the most versatile because white dials typically would need to go with lighter clothes. Okay, anyways, so the silver dial, there you have it. And it's beautifully done in silver. And all right, now let's move on to the bracelet here. Now, Rolex gives you the option of making this bracelet in either Jubilee, which is what you see here, or Oyster. And both in the Jubilee and the Oyster, they both have this 5mm comfort extension, so you don't have to use any tools to extend the bracelet 5mm up or down, which is very helpful when it's hot or cold and your hand expands. and you don't need any tools to do so. This one is on Jubilee. I actually prefer the Datejust on Jubilee. It initially came out on Jubilee, and it's a traditional look, which is not a bad thing because it means it never goes out of style. You know, for example, if you bought this watch, by the way, you can buy it at jazztime.com. You could pass it on to your kids, and in another 50 years, the Datejust will basically look the same as it does now. Yeah, there'll be different variations. They'll make the movement better, or they'll do different things, but basically it'll look the same as it does 50 years from now, and it'll be the classic look. All right, so, all right, anyways, that is the bracelet. Now let's move on to the movement. The movement was updated since the old movement. As I told you, this reference has been out for around 10 years. So use of the new movement, which is 3235. The old movement used to be 3135. The new movement, as you see it here, it's more precise, and then the power reserve is longer. It says 70-hour power reserve as opposed to a 48 before. And it has a nicer finish to it, although you can't see it, but you can take my word for it. Okay, let's go ahead and try this watch on. I'm 6 foot tall, 200 pounds. I have a 7.5-inch wrist, and as you can see, the watch looks very nice on me. And what I would recommend is this watch, the 41 millimeter, for anyone with a wrist size of 7 inches or larger. That includes women, actually. If you're a woman, you have a 7-inch wrist or larger, which is not that common, then you could go with a 41. Now, if you're a man and you have a wrist size smaller than that, I would suggest you go with a 36, because that would probably fit you better. But at any rate, if you want to buy this watch, don't forget, buy it at jazztime.com, which is why we're making this video. And my thoughts about the Datejust are, well, it's an iconic watch. Anywhere you go, what are the benefits to it? It's an iconic look. It's a beautiful look. It's very versatile. Can be worn with a suit, can be worn casual. And the watch is very liquid. So let's say you want to unload it someday, you could easily do so at jazztime.com or anywhere really. And it already has withstood the test of time, and it will continue so for way past for a very long time. Okay, and so anyways, I very much like this watch. I also like it in the silver dial because it's a very neutral color that can be worn in almost every situation. So anyways, look, if you want to buy this watch, I'm giving it 2 thumbs up. So go to jazztime.com or click on the link in the description below to buy it there at jazztime.com.
If you want to find out more about the watch you just saw in the video, you can just click below on Show More to see the full description. Then you can check the link next to model as seen in video, click on it, and you will get to the proper page where you can see all the details. If you're watching on a mobile phone, you have to click on the arrow down on the right hand side below the video to see the full description. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you would like to share this video with your friends, you can use the share button below and share it on any platform you like. If you have questions, constructive feedback, want to tell us about some mistakes or misspeaks, just write a comment below. If you want to see more videos like this, you should subscribe to our channel and visit our channel page where you can find all the videos. And if you're interested in a specific watch brand, you can check out our playlists. If you want to check the price for a watch or want to buy one, remember at jazztime.com you always get a steep discount, so you should check the prices with us. If you want to know the price for a specific watch, just go to Google, type in JazzTime, plus the brand, model, and the details you're interested in, and Google will find the right page for you. Thank you for watching.